Hello everyone. Just this is my first live stream, so just trying to play a little bit with it and see if I can share more in public with everyone. So bear with me, I'm still posting on the socials and so on, so let's see if I get someone to visit it or not. Currently live X will also, you can see, still live here on X. Let me share the YouTube link. Someone wants to see it. Let me see if people can hear me. It seems to be working. Cool. Let's go to the coding part. Still need to share that on the Morning Makers Discord. Okay, so okay, let's start. So I think everything is well set up. If not, just raise your hands. Okay, so what I've been doing, I've been working within SCMS for my growth board project, but and I really like it. It allows you to edit your content with the easy UI, and it stores automatically. It can save automatically on your repo. So you just commit to your repo, and then you're good to go. You don't need to have any database, any other system, and it's directly on your code. So it's pretty nice and allows you to manage any type of content. So I decided to do also that for my website, where I manage all my podcasts and also my blog. So let me show you how it looks like, what we are going to do. So you can see here the website where I list all the blog posts oh, sorry, all the podcasts that I have. And when you open it, you see the link to YouTube, to the Spotify, some small description, and also a video to the YouTube. To manage that, usually what I do, I need to create, copy this or duplicate this folder, for example, then change manually all these items, add the description here. Then I still need to go to my page and add the list here. That's the way it is. Been doing so far for 11 weeks. But yeah, it's still like not a lot, of course, not a lot of code, but it's still like 5 to 10 minutes to do all the process. And I want to have a way to easily go to UI, edit it, and automatically create all the files that are needed. So what I did already was to have integrate within a CMS, which is pretty simple. Maybe I'll do that for another project that I have that want to manage the blogs from with this UI, which is really simple. Just follow the Next.js integration and it creates automatically all the base structure. And then it creates also this config for Tina. And here is where everything is defined. What I did already was to define a collection for my podcast that stores an MDX file under content and podcasts. And with the different fields that I need. So I have title, the status, description, the number of the episode, last time that it was, also the time that it was published, last time that was updated, podcast episode ID, and podcast YouTube video ID. That's what I have for now, and also a body, which is the description, the text of the podcast that is shown there. Okay, so what and how it looks like. So if I go now to localhost, the page is the same. Let's just put the page is the same, and I have here the podcast. So what it allows to, what it gives you is a UI for you to edit your files. So if I open here, you see that I have the collections podcast, which has the same fields that have been defined before. So if I open one that I just added yesterday, and you can see that it allows you to edit the podcast, the value that, for example, tells you the status, description, that it's this is just for SEO purpose for now, the episode number, everything that we define on the other side, including this body part. So what am I? So now I need to make it work with so let's make it working. First I need to have real or useful data. Let's make it like that we can see both of them. I usually do that on the other screen, but to live stream doing it here. Let's get what we have here from there. So doesn't matter the episode number. 12. Reading time. So this is podcast episode ID. And podcast YouTube ID. Let's just get some Laura Gibson. put some labels just to test afterwards the typography. Not sure if this works. Oh yeah, it does. That's really nice. Okay, and you can see as I saved here, my file was saved automatically. So it creates this new podcast with the file saved. And if I open it live, you see that it automatically changed the content there because I have already linked. So this has the same ID as the one from Spotify, and I have the YouTube video here, which is also embedded automatically. I need to fix this invalid date for now. Let's see what's the issue there. Date. Not expecting that. So the way it works, I have this page here. You can see with a slug, which can allow multiple paths if I want. And I'm doing that just on the podcast, so not the route. You could do that for the route if you wanted, for example, have everything managed with the same structure, but here I'm just doing that with under the slug, under the podcast, sorry. Let me see, I'm just checking my stream, so it seems that I don't have the chat enabled on X, so let's see if I can do that. How can I enable it? Mm, Settings. Oh yeah, I forgot to add the chat. So next time I will add the chat. Okay. Next time I will add the chat on 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 X. No, not a big deal. Okay, let's continue. What I was doing is about the date. So on the date, let's see what's the status of this date. Podcast. I have the date like that, but I think it's waiting for podcast details. Okay, let's go back and share you how it works. So Tina basically Tina gets stores the content outside of your source on the content, put podcast, and this is the MDX of the podcast that I have with the file that we added here on the Tina CMS. But then it automatically um, compiles everything and creates a generated content here. So you have under Tina generated, you have here a bunch of libraries with the client EMS, client, and a lot of the types that you have, like you really have everything automatically generated that you can use. You can see here the podcast types that you can use on your project. So, and in order to query that, you can get this client, which is one of the generated from, this is generated from Tina, queries, podcast, and here I'm just getting the path from this um, I'm just getting the pass from the slug that I have. Sometimes I break because I'm checking what's on Twitter. Someone, so bear with me with that. I'm gonna get more experienced with this. and not distract too much, but all good. Okay, here I have, yeah, so it gets, now it's getting the data from Tina. That's what I'm getting here, and gets what is called data query and variables. Then you can, so this is done on the server side. This is the server component. Then, because I want to be able to have this contextual editing, because if I change here, for example, section 1, I can start typing and you can see it automatically gets from there. So this is not yet saved on the system, file system, but it's visible here on on the UI immediately. And that's possible because there's this hook from Tina, which is use Tina, that you pass these query variables data and it stores in the state. And then once you save, then it stores, either gets from the state or gets it from state or context. I don't know exactly, or it gets from the file system. So, and here I get the podcast and then I send to my layout because I was doing already this with MDX before. And you see that I have here podcast episode layout, which is all the layout, and I send this article generated from MDX, which I think is using the content layer, but I want to stop using that and use this Tina CMS. So there I have this one. I have the podcast episode layout, which I put all the information from the podcast, which provides most of the page. So which gets all this context here, it injects the Spotify embedded page and the YouTube, and then received the children that renders here. That's what it's done here. And then you have the Tina Markdown. And this is the way for Tina to allows you to transform this rich text that it's stored in a markdown file into something that it's visible. So this is was showing the live system, but this is what's visible here. So I have some issues with this data here, which I think date is a string, and this one is also having a string, but somehow I have here invalid date. Doesn't not able to get this article date, which I don't know why. Which I need to transform these to not super never was never good managing dates. So let's ask help to Copilot. See if it understands. It seems it's accepted, but it should not work. This is on the client side, so let's see what it tells here. It seems to accept it, so maybe the date is not there, the issue. Oh, the issue is here. Maybe, okay, it's because I using what is the format? Using format from DataFNS. Let's see if this works. It seems so. using the correct format? Oh no, what is this format? Date. What did I do there? My bad. It was using the format. Let's use the format here. Yeah, because the format should receive a date, should be able to receive a date object. And let's do this. Maybe. Okay, sounds good. So, okay, this one is good. So I fixed that. Let me remove this trash. No, didn't make many changes. Now I need, so before what I've been doing to list the podcasts, showing these cards here, but I'm getting that from this array of all podcasts. So now what we want to do is to query from Tina database and see what not really database, but what Tina has generated and added, and get the podcast from there. So because you see that the one that I added is not here. So let's do that. Just checking the stream. Okay. What am I going to do there is to get it to list. So here I need to first get, or instead of getting all the podcasts from there, I want to load podcasts from Tina. So for that, let me check the other that I have. Yeah, for that we're going to use a connection. Just that. Almost. To get it from the client, not client query. Sorry, I get the wrong client probably. Yeah, but the client from Trigger, a very nice, another very nice library that I like. But I don't want to query. I want to filter by the status that are not draft. So because I want to have it only in case. Maybe what I'm gonna do, instead of having the status, yeah, we'll do that. So instead of having the status, big, instead of having based on the status, maybe I'll remove it. Let's just comment out and see. I think I can just based on the date. So I can get everything that's older than this or younger than this date. So this allows me to schedule something in the future and then they will be on that. This should work and I don't think I'll have issues with server-side rendering. This should work. Let's see. Queries. Here I can get podcast. Let's see what's happening. Okay, imported. Yep, this one. Cast connection. So connection allows me to filter it. And I'm not super familiar with the filters yet of Tina. Here I can greater than, so I should put less than or equals. Oh, before. That's the right way. The way I should do that is say filter. Then here I'll tell the field that I want. Not should be greater than, but should be before. New date. This way I should list all the podcasts that are before the date. Okay, so I think this will get me an array of the data. Copy from the other side. Here I just want the podcasts. It should be podcast connection. Edges, here should be podcast. And you see the format here is on the node. I have the correct values. Why do I need to do this transformation here? It's essentially because of this slug. I want to make the podcast together with the slug, and the slug should be the breadcrumbs with a join. Podcast is defined. Like that. The thing here is that article is not really article. So let's just move it, rename it to podcast. Instead of this one, I wanted to be getting the type from Tina. Podcast is podcast. You can see that Tina gives you already this type. But I want also to add the slug. So this to change some things. types are more or less the same, so it should work. Oh yeah, the description is also shown on the card. Okay, this should be good. Let's see there on the podcast. So this should podcast. Yeah, it's live streaming. And, coding it at the same time while talking is slightly different than when you are doing on your own. Not as the same speed, but it's interesting. Would like to see what people will tell about it. But it's nice being able to share these things. Okay, I have an issue here with ID, not assigned type IDs. If I go to the type podcast, yeah, ID is not. How does the ID is null here? Or not null, but undefined. Page. Let's do differently. Instead of making that, let's make pick. I will do what I want to pick from here. Episode number. Waiting for. I don't think slug exists there. So I think Copilot made a small mistake there. Slug is not a sign. What? Well, should be good now. This is, I only get the values that I need, so I ignore this ID, but this one is still not happy. Because I think I might not, so those are all undefined, while on the type they are not undefined. I really like TypeScript, but sometimes these small things are not the best. Now I need to like a little bit extra code for some types verification, but that's part of life of TypeScript. When I built Fiercely, I started with JavaScript, but at some point, with the help of my colleagues, especially Miguel, we started migrating to TypeScript, and since then I had will no longer go back to will no longer go back to TypeScript to JavaScript again. That's for sure. Still not happy with this one. Slug is also partial, so like that. This one is fixed. No, let's see. So this is the main page. I don't want it. Yeah, you can see that it's here. Still with the invalidate. So let's see what is this issue. Probably the same that we had on the other side. Let me see what we have here on production. It's the same format, so it's good. Well, I have this format date library, but I don't want to use it. So format. Be many parameters. Yeah, that is good. This is there. Let's try to create a new post in the future. Let's see how it behaves. If I go to podcast, I can create a new one. New podcast, future, description. So my description is on 33 in the future. So by default, I put the date of today. But I can put, let's say, this Friday's episode. This is good for me because then I can start preparing the podcast launch in advance and it would automatically show them, which is really nice. Maybe I'll do because if I don't have this episode ID, it fails somehow. Here you can see by default Tina provides you a Slugify. If you want to change the format of the slug, because by default it puts the first letter capital. So I added here on the UI section to have the Slugify with the kebab case so that it automatically gets like that. But for example, if you want to have like some random ID, you could change here and put some sync with the random ID. For example, I have that ID, so it was interesting. Gilias was sharing that you should have, instead of having just a slug, sometimes you should have some IDs so that you can change it in the future. And you have this is the ID, which is part of the slug, and everything that's not ID is ignored. It's a nice, it was a nice tip from Elias, but here it's too doesn't need that. This is a future one, so this should not be listed. Let's see if that's the case. If I go to post, I don't need to move out of this, but okay, episode number find. What's the issue there? Yeah, that's something I need to test as well. Is on the main page. If you see on the main page, I go to my main page. I also have my last episode, so I also need to change that to get it from Tina instead. But let's go that just afterwards. So this one is not listed there, which is good. Let's try to change the date and put one date in the past. Let's say yeah, it's shown there. Else, let's change the order. I think the order, I'm not taking into account the order. The order should be up there. Copilot is great, even though this doesn't work here. Let me just sort. And let's just check the documentation. This is if you want to sort with multiples. Maybe I can add a default sort. Then you can sort always by date. Let's try that, see if it works. Maybe I should read the documentation. Oh yeah, just file name ordering. Maybe that cannot. But the easiest way is to go there and have the sort on the connection. Don't like the GraphQL. Because I don't want to put just sort because it will be, this should be probably, is it like that? saying it was sorting there. Imagination. Yeah, sometimes checking other things on the side, multitasking, sometimes not the most efficient, but always try to be active on many fronts. Okay, still having an issue there, so let's see. Let's see if it can help there. I always have the option to reverse or resort with code. Right now, I don't have many podcasts, so I'm not adding pagination, but at some point I will need to do. But I'd love to see. I don't think this allows. I think he's waiting for a string. Let's ask ChatGPT. Oh, it's getting me the GraphQL query, which I don't want. Maybe this might be it. Hmm. Okay, let's just sort by date. This. Let's just ask him to do that manually on the go. That's not what's gonna make it slower. I don't have that many podcasts yet, so once I add pagination, need to worry with that. But for now, let's see what he proposed. Yeah, because maybe um, the string is undefined. Let's see if it's correct. So date A, either it exists or 0. Date B, it exists. Seems to be okay. Yeah, seems good now. Let's add one more in the middle and see. 13s. That's it. Okay, it's good. It does it correctly here. Now I have the issues. Well, seems okay. But it was having some issues of not having the correct layers. That seems okay. I had it, but it was with the wrong ID, so that's why I was having some issues. Okay, seems good so far. The thing of what of, was thinking about automatically launch them once the date arrives, but the problem is that it might, um, but it's more a process issue, not so much technical issue, is that I might not have the Spotify and YouTube IDs. Okay, so I think this port is good. Maybe we'll just move this outside. No, let's copy it then. Do slightly different. Now I need to go to my home page because here I get all podcasts and I get the first one. So it no longer works. So let's change it. So filter before. I still need a sort here to get the last one. Either I get all of them. Let's add this to a library because this is the same function I have on the other side. Wondering if I should do if I should worry with getting the last one or not with the GraphQL query. Yeah, let me ask. Asking ChatGPT if it can help me just get the last one with this query. If it does, great. If not, I'll just move forward and do it with this one, but just move it to a models and return all of them and just get the last one. It's suggesting me this. I'm not sure this is gonna work, to be honest, because I tried on the other side and it didn't. You like to assume things, ChatGPT? Let's see. see what it move to the localhost. It will fail here, given podcast. Yeah, it didn't. It did not sort. I think that's the issue. Should have given this one. Try. Trying to see here. I think they posted it. Feels to post the data choice. Not very useful. Promising, but let's see if they have something here. I feel that the documentation of Tina could be a little bit more comprehensive, but yeah. See with Tina IO if it helps. Hmm. Not getting much success. Let's see this one. Yeah, I think I could eventually extend their get all method have it sorted there, but I think I will just you just use the lazy way. Sorry for all the great developers, but sometimes we just need to have something done and not the perfect solution. In any case, I don't want to have duplicated code, so I'm gonna do that, moving it to a models component, which I think I have it here. I have the lib, which is similar. Uh, call it just dear podcasts. Yes. Which should get the same code as I have somewhere here. No, not this one. Page podcast. This one. All this code there. Okay. Before doing here, I should just import this one. Good. Let's see. Now here, const podcasts equals. Oh, need to remove. No longer this one. At some point I need to remove these articles. This was the previous method. Okay, should be good. It's sorted here. Let's see this one. This one is not good yet. Get last podcast. Return. Await. Get. Doesn't mean don't need the wait, but yeah, I need it. I think the get all podcast is the wrong one again. Okay. Let's just launch a new one and see if it updates on both sides. Let's put first something in the future. It should not be shown, I hope. Correct. Let's now change the date to today. And it now should be shown. Correct. Good. Seems it's good. Now what I need to do before moving forward is to have my content edit correctly. But let me just check if everything is good. So I have the home page. Hmm. This should be shown new somehow. So I think I have an issue there on the card, or not. You see, if it's today, it's not showing the new, so something is wrong there. 'She's on the card. So basically, if the date is refreshed, yeah, if the date is today, it's not good. It's corner case. Seven days. So podcast date. Is this the issue or is something else? No, there's something else. Hmm. This is strange. It's getting tomorrow's date, not today. What's going on? This is the again. Mm-hmm. And strange. Here it's correct. Yeah, sometimes I had some issues. Let's see if this is the case. Just delete this generated content. Stop it. Make it regenerate again. I'd be surprised that would be the case, but so basically, yeah, because of the time zone, I think it stores in UTC, and that's why it's previous day. Yeah, now I get the correct one, but still no flag. Where do I have this new one? I go to the podcast details, there in the last 7 days, it's the same condition. I should change these too, but only when I remove completely the MDX file from the previous one. Okay, let me just debug this one. The article. I think this is on the client side. If the condition is correct, so why is not getting the new tag? I really like to type hola. It's Portuguese. Hello. Uh-huh. Because I don't have a reading time. There's always a reason. So I don't have reading time now. If I type reading time now, it gets there. So maybe what I'll just do is remove it from the reading time. It here. Basic mistake. I think I have it somewhere else. This one is also under the reading time condition. True. Okay. Okay, so let's list all of them. Oh, Kosol. Okay, all of them are new except this one, which is good. Seems to be accurate. Home page is good. List all episodes are good. If I open one of them, this is also good. So I'm good to go. Let's just review all the code. Remove those ones. Log config. What did we change? Remove the draft from here, which is okay. I'm not managing with the status, but with the date, which is good. Can always put something in the future if I don't want to have it. Just removing this log. Podcast episode layout. Also several logs here that are not needed. What else? It's good. Move out the new tag. Here there are a little bit more changes, but all good. No lost comments. Correct. Oops. Can remove this one. Okay. I will need to remove those afterwards, but for now it's okay. Just gonna do that after lunch. This one. I think I don't need a function for these. I can just do that here. It's simpler. Or I think they have, yeah, doesn't matter. Just have one. Let me check something. And then we have these ones. I think I'll remove them because they were just tests. That's the advantage. You can add content to Tina through Tina, and then this just discard like that, and everything is managed through the code, and you can't really see what you did. We don't have much trash over there. Okay. Listing. Podcasts. Tina content. I'm committing but not pushing because I think it will fail the deployment, and especially I don't want to remove all the podcasts that I have. And then after lunch, I will keep working on it. So I might join again on the live stream after lunch. So if you are around, feel free to join me again. Happy to keep sharing, integrating Tina with the different projects. I think for this one, this part is good on the podcast. I have also some blog posts. Maybe I will, yeah, I think I will change this blog to get the content from Tina directly as well, so that I can manage the blog post from Tina. Let's see, because here I have some, I never worked with it. Oh, they are not even working now. What happened? Okay, should check it. Let's see if I have it in production. That makes it more urgent to change. Yeah, no, seems to work. But here I have some. It's a good way for me to see how to do it, because with Tina you can have MDX. Do I have it here? So for example, here I'm embedding some other components, and it's just an image. I think here, there, this is just the image. Sometimes I have the tweet. Yeah, here I'm embedding a tweet. So this is MDX component that I add inside the rich text. And I know that Tina allows you to have your own component, so that could be a good way to try out together. Oh. Sorry. Yeah, let's feel free to join me this afternoon. I'll keep working on it today, and then add also maybe two other projects that I have. Good. Have a great lunch if it's time for you to lunch. If not, join me maybe 2 to 3 hours, and I will be right streaming again. Cheers.